up a lot from my clients, and when I get repeated things that are being said to me over and over and over again by clients, and I usually make a film. Now, there comes a point when you suddenly start to look at yourself, and this is like, I'd say your 40s and 50s are kind of like your new teenage years. Your body's changing, and you're suddenly leveled with this sense of anxiety of who am I? What am I doing? You know, where am I going with the next patch of my life? Because like it or not, and I didn't believe this when I was younger, and I would hear people say, oh, you lose your power as a woman when you're hitting your 40s, 50s. I was like, yeah, no, mate, I will just be tuning it up. But actually, it's not about what you think about yourself. It seems to be about the way that the world perceives you. So some of my clients have been going for jobs and finding that they're not getting the jobs. Now, these are jobs that they are way qualified for, like really qualified for. And you think, when you look at it, when you're younger, you think, oh, it's going to be because people worry about your future progression. So they think, oh, well, I can hire someone in their 20s and 30s because we're going to have more time out of them. You know, forget all the baby stuff, but we're going to have more time out of them. But it's not, it's about moldability. It's about the fact that when you hit your 40s and 50s, you are a powerhouse with loads of experience. And especially if you're being hired by someone younger than you might not realise this, but you're like massively intimidating because you are a powerhouse, because you've got all of these years of experience. And people who are younger than you may feel a little bit intimidated by that, or people who are the same age as you feel that they can't mould you into who they want you to be. When you look at younger people, you think, oh yeah, I'll be able to mould them into different things. But that can leave women suddenly feeling like a sense of things closing in, like you're not going to get the opportunities. So whereas before you could perhaps take risks with employment, go and do one thing, freelance here, go and do there, and kind of like enjoy that manoeuvre, you suddenly start to think, I need to slow down and hang on to what I've got and not make those changes. Now, it can feel like a very insecure and scary time. I mean, they even call it crone. Mother, maiden, crone. I mean, what the heck is that? Some kind of like hooked nose, big warted, old, nasty, decrepit lady. Well, I'm sure you don't feel like that. Who feels like that? And yet somehow there's this idea that as you're reaching your menopause and you're getting to a certain age, that that's what's facing you. And it can leave you with this awful feeling and a really bad taste in the back of your mouth. So I just want to give you a shift of perspective on this, as I have telling my clients. You are all of the life force that you have been putting out up to this moment. You are everything that you have put into the world. It's not the value of who you are moving forward that counts. It's who you have been all the way up to this point. And you know what? Maybe you don't want to take those jobs. Maybe those jobs are the ones that are, well, you just being less than. Maybe you're going for what you've always known, and maybe the time is to go for something new. Maybe the time is to actually say, well, stuff all this. Maybe I'll start my own business. Maybe I'll do my own thing. It's about a time really of great reflection. And in the same way that when you're a teenager, you're kind of going, right, who do I want to be as an adult? I would say your 40s are about, who do I want to be as a grown-up? Now, I don't know about you, but I've never felt like a grown-up. I have no intention of becoming a grown-up. Grown-ups are really boring. But actually, I'm starting to think, maybe a grown-up is not about what we, you know, as an adult, it's about what we take from the world. But a grown-up is about what we give to the world. It's about how we show up and how we give. What is it that we've got to give? We've got all of these years of experience. We are now stepping into our wise woman years. We're stepping into the years where we get to do the moulding. We're stepping in the years where we get to be able to be the person who takes all of that wisdom and experience and puts it out into the world in a creative, positive, expansive way. Now, I have a thing. If you don't share your gifts with the world, you know, look at it as being an apple tree. If you're not sharing your apples with the world and they sit on the tree, what happens to them? Well, they go brown and they go wrinkly and they go rotten and they go bitter. Well, that's not going to be you, is it? You're not going to leave your apples sitting there on the tree going, nobody values my apples anymore, so I'm not sharing them with anybody because I'm an old crone. No, you're going to spread your apples wide and far. You are going to be able to go out into the world and be creative and be inspirational and be amazing with all of the stuff that is taking you to this point in time. This is the point where you decide, right, if I'm going to actually become a grown-up and I'm going to become responsible and I'm going to become responsible for my power and how I wield it in changing things that I want to change and being an inspirational person, there is no stopping me. So I want you to look at it from that perspective, rather than looking at it as the perspective that the world will give you, which is, oh, well, you know, you haven't got much use in the world now. This is kind of like a real bullshit Western culture thing. This is not how old people are seen in different cultures. And I know I have travelled the world and I have been there and done that. And I didn't get the t-shirt, it was too expensive. I don't spend money on stuff. So I hope that that helps, because I think that we are going through a bit of a time. There's a lot of women that are talking to me about this, and I just think that, you know, you can't waste a single moment. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of people who didn't make it this far. I know a lot of people who did not make it this far. So rather than dreading your next birthday, be bloody grateful that you got there. I'll catch you again soon. Take care.